Guru Nation, really quick video I got from a CRA Academy student currently in our August class. They asked two really good questions. I feel like I could answer them in a relatively quick video. This is why I'm doing it right now. So the first question is, what does PK stand for? Paul, Kevin. PK. What's a PK freezer temperature log? It's on the SIV confirmation letter template, which we have in the CRA Academy. So PK means pharmacokinetics. What this is the activity in the drug in the body over a period of time, including how it's absorbed, distributed, localized, excreted. Most studies have a PK sample drawing at regular intervals of the study. These PKs, the sites can choose to ship them to the sponsor on the day of collection on dry ice. This is an option. This happens a lot. However, oftentimes sponsors prefer sites batch their shipments to save costs, I'm guessing, or just to make things a little more efficient for them. There's the various reasons. Those reasons don't really matter. So in those cases, sites need to store the PK samples in a PK freezer, right? And this is why you need to have a PK freezer log, an actual sample log documenting which samples are in the freezer. So when the CRA comes, not only does the CRA know that the PK samples were in the correct temperature the entire time, but that which samples were there. So this is why at a site initiation visit, they make sure that there is a log, even though obviously at SIV, no patients have been seen, so there are no samples, but there is a log in place, there is a freezer in place, and there is a temperature log in place. So that's PK. The next question is, can you go over what's a study endpoint? So studies have primary and secondary objectives. And usually the primary objective is to test to look at the efficacy and safety of the investigational product. That's just a very simple primary objective. Secondary objectives are usually safety, although in phase 2, it's usually safety is the primary objective. Secondary objective is a little bit of efficacy. Those two go hand in hand usually. It's just which one is prioritized. Safety in phase 2, safety and some efficacy in phase 2, efficacy and safety in phase 3. An endpoint is a subset of this primary or secondary objective. So for example, how do we measure efficacy in schizophrenia, for example? Well, there's a couple of rating scales that are the gold standard for seeing changes in efficacy, changes in the patient's outcomes of their schizophrenic symptoms over the course of the study. One of these scales is the PANSS, positive and negative symptoms of schizophrenia. That is an endpoint. They want to see in the study the change in the PANSS score from baseline till end of study for the patients in the study. So that would be one of the endpoints. Primary endpoint, change in the PANSS. Another one in schizophrenia would be the CGI, clinical global improvement. In asthma, it might be lung capacity as measured by a spirometer. It just depends on the indication. That's what the endpoint is. Every indication has their own gold standards for efficacy for that indication. So this is where it pays to know therapeutic conditions, because the endpoints, obviously, for a schizophrenia study is not the same endpoint as it is for an asthma study, although the primary objectives might be the same, safety and efficacy of IP, right? But the endpoints are different. The endpoints are all about therapeutic indication specifics, right? In macular degeneration, it could be a whole different endpoint. I think the endpoint is the actual measurement of the hole in the back of the retina. I'm not an expert on macular degeneration, but I've covered a few on the biotech stocks that we reviewed, most notably Lineage Cell Therapeutics. So you can find the endpoints of any study you want and any indication you want. You just go on clinicaltrials.gov and you look up studies. You just type, let's say you want to know what's a common endpoint, and this is how to study for interview as well. If you have an interview and you know the indication that the company specializes in, so if it's a site or if it's a CRA and they tell you what indications, you need to be familiar with the endpoints, the gold standards, the assessments. And there's no other way than to go on clinicaltrials.gov or on Google Scholar or on PubMed and look up studies and look up endpoints for those indications. And you'll start seeing the same indications being measured or the same endpoints being analyzed over and over and over again. And this is how you get good. This is how you become a generalist. This is how you learn things in clinical research. So, great questions. Let me know what you think. What did I miss? What's your questions? Comment, like, subscribe, share. If you don't know what to comment, robot emoji will do. Thank you very much. Bye bye.